afternoon, everybody. How you guys doing today? My name is Kevin Brannon. I am the newest pro staffer here at Bass Pro Shop, and this is a dream come true for me. I host the Real Anglers Fishing Show. We started a nonprofit called Real Guppy Outdoors. I started working, thanks man. I started working on boats when I was about 11 years old as a pinhead. I really enjoyed helping people catch fish. I always said I wanted to be a teacher when I grew up. I had my own learning curves growing up as a kid. I didn't read and write very well. But look at me now. I have my own children's workbooks over there on that on our booth over there. Our logo, the worm catching the fish for the Real Anglers Fishing Show, stands for anything is possible, because normally the fish eats the worm, right? But in this case, the worm is catching the fish. So it kind of symbolizes against all odds. I started taking kids out fishing about 11 years ago in our neighborhood with the resources that I had in my platform of being a YouTube fisherman. And then I noticed the kids in our area that grew up the same way I did in a single home needed something to do, so I started grabbing a couple of kids and bringing them out to fish, and we called it Real Anglers Kids Fishing Day. And then we would give my kid a camera to film for the TV show. We called it the Guppy camera. We would take that film and throw it in the TV show and called it the Guppy cam. And that's where we got the name Guppy. When we went nonprofit about 6 years ago to kind of help us get some grants to further the program, we just kept the name Real Guppy. So our whole brand is called Real Angler Network. That's our television show, Real Anglers Fishing Show. Real Guppy Outdoors, which is our kid fishing program. We've taken about 5,000 kids out fishing so far and their families. And then we started our podcast, me and Bubba here, called Real Radio. And that has to do, again, with just kind of getting more people out fishing. We found that if we did more clinic-style fishing days versus a kid derby where the kids only learn how to fish, but the parents aren't, they're not going to keep traditionally fishing on their own. If you teach people how to do it, right, what is it? If you teach a man to fish, he eats forever. So by doing it that way, they're more likely to continue the tradition of fishing. Also teaching things about environmental stewardship. Some of the kids that come out want to be marine biologists or maybe want to be a ranger or something else with occupation, so we can expose them to that too. Our first book that we did was called Catch a Memory, and it wasn't called Catch a Monster, because it's the memories that we catch, right? Going out with your family, fellowshipping with your brother, somebody from work, telling stories. Because in fishing, right, just like life, you can do everything right and still come up short. Like fishing, right, you got the best gear, beautiful day, all the conditions look right, and you still get skunked, right? And that's part of it, you know? So you come back again and try it again, but you're enjoying the experiences, the smell in the morning, the sunrise, all the places that you get to see and who you're doing it with. And that's kind of what like life experiences, why we want to experience things with people that we love. And, you know, sometimes they're bad experiences, but you learn from those, just like fishing, and then you adapt and you catch more fish. So today we have a couple of different pro staffers out here. My friend Gilbert over there, he opened the door for me to get into Bass Pro. We're on the same team, Promar. And then in return, I get to bring a friend like Bubba to come along with me. You know, we're just servant leaders, and we like to, you know, just keep giving. So thanks, Gilbert, for getting me in here. Again, it's a dream come true. These workbooks that you see here, I walked through here years ago with my Instagram story saying, one day I'm going to be in here, one day I'll be here. Then I had a workbook, and I came in here and actually stashed them in the kid area so kids could pick them up. And I wonder if anybody tried to ring them up and they wouldn't ring up. But I thought it was great seeing kids running through Bass Pro with my books. But I was like, future thinking, and then again to run into Gilbert here at another show, and him getting me involved with Catherine here and opening the door. Last year I did 2 kid fishing days in the back and helped out, and then this year they asked me to join the team, and I almost got teary-eyed because, again, I've already seen this before, wanting to be here, and here we are. So today we do have, thank you very much. And the reason I say that is encouraging, right? Everybody has passions and dreams and visions that they want to do. So if a young kid from Port Hueneme that couldn't read with a single mom could be here today showcasing his books, anything is possible, just like my logo, right? So I like to throw out that encouragement, man, to make sure that we're always, you know, going after the things that we love to do, okay? Catching experiences. So first today, this is Bubba, my co-host. I'll give you a little bit of his story real quick. So Bubba and I worked together at Channel Island Sport Fishing, and he said he had 2 visions that he wanted to do, or 2 of his passions, and what were they?
I wanted to open up a taco stand.
A little bit louder, brother.
I wanted to open up a taco stand, or I wanted to go tour fishing. I wanted to fish professionally or amateur. So I went to amateur fishing. So
Can you hear him?
Hear me guys? But yeah, now I'm on tour and really excited to be there. It's my 2nd year and doing well. So, Yeah.
But he's modest though. We told him, look, what prevents you from doing it, right? You know, is it travel? Is it these different things? So we wrote him a check, and he's our first sponsored angler, and he's on the pro circuit. And I get to bring him out and he helps me with my podcast. So this is Bubba, and check it out. Thank you. All right, we're gonna start right here with Mark Franco, and it's kind of cool. Yeah, Mark's got a big fan base. Just a little bit about him. I've been here for 13 years. We talked for a while. He's been guiding for a couple years. What, 25 years?
25 years now guiding and 13 years with the store.
And how'd you get involved with that?
Well, I always wanted to be a guide. I mean, ever since I was a little boy, you know, I grew up watching shows, you know, like The American Sportsman. You guys remember that? Maybe a couple of older guys here. Water Sports, The American Sportsman with Kurt Gowdy. You guys are babies, man, but Kurt Gowdy was the man back in the day. He used to guide people, and it just really triggered it for me. You know, didn't start guiding until 34. I actually did a lot of construction prior to that. Working hard, baseball, construction, and next thing you know, you're getting older and older, and you realize that baseball dream's not going to make it. So construction came through, and I got hurt really bad. I fell about 20 feet and took some damage on my body. But after 2 years of healing, and watching TV shows of fishing all day because I couldn't move, I said, I gotta be a guide. I can do what they are doing. Yeah. And that's what happened now. 24 years now, guiding, and can't complain, got lucky here. But you know, I really like to target the family fun. Just kind of like what you're doing, taking some memories, have a great time out here. I took these four right here. Roy, Leslie, Hazel, and Yuri. They've been out there 3 times with me already. We catch fish, we have fun, and we make memories. Yuri's learned a lot this year, didn't you, Larry? What was the #1 rule you learned this year? No crying and fishing.
No, I don't know, man. I lost a pretty big fish, and I wanted to cry, even the small one. So I think
You lost a big trout.
Really?
Yeah. And unfortunately, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna get another one. We had to slow him down. That's like, you know, a little boy. He's excited. He wants to bring in 100 miles an hour with a little tutelage. And he was looking like a pro within a couple hours. He ended up with about 13 trout that day.
Wow.
We did really, really well. Yeah. We were catching and releasing. Everybody got to bring them in.
So don't you see that when you're taking out families and kids that, like a guy like me as an angler fishing saltwater, it's a little bit more difficult because I try to bring my technique because I'm a pro, and then versus kids that are sponges that we find at our kid days where they're eager, they'll learn as much as you'll teach them, right?
Absolutely. Like Yuri and Hazel, both of them are sponges. They just, everything I say, every word I say, they're hanging on to it. They're trying it. You know, I tell them to go to the local lakes and try those techniques. And they're always catching a bass here, a bass there, a carp here, a catfish there. You know what that's like when you're young. As long as the pole's bending, you know, and you just can't wait to get it into the, you know, to the shoreline and put it on the net and take some pictures. Yuri, we have a deal, me and Yuri. If he catches 25 bass, he gets a jersey, a Bass Pro Shop jersey.
Oh. You're almost there, what?
No, he's got a ways to go. He thought it was going to be real easy. He got 5 in a row, and then it's been tough January and a little tougher February. But come summertime, you know, as we know, bubble. Yeah.
Springs around the corner.
Springs around the corner, get that water in the 60s, and we'll be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, down in Valley Lake where I'm at, the water's 55 degrees.
It's pretty cold, man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So there's a lot of, that's part of the science that we teach the kids when we go out. You know, it could be the conditions. We're working on something called community science where the kids actually write the temperatures down and the conditions and what they catch and what they don't, so they could see where, you know, the different, maybe the feeding habits and things that are on. So the scientific part of knowing, changing up your setups and stuff, right?
Right, absolutely. Bright days, you're using this color. Sunny days, dark days, you're using this and that. You know, some days you're using fluorocarbon line. Some days it doesn't even matter what you throw in the water. You know, it's just, they're hitting like crazy, and those are the days you remember well. But for me, you know, Diamond Valley Lake, 20 years now, coming this October, over probably, I don't know, close to maybe 10,000 trips out there. The ones I do remember the most are the ones I get to have a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, I just, you know, when you get those 2-3 fish days, and it's just, you know.
Do you get that one? Because as I'm working on sport boats or bringing guys out, you know, the day when the first time they come out and it's just wide open, and then they're spoiled, and then they think this is how it's always going to be, right?
They spoiled on trucks and bluegill with me. Yeah, they had a fun. Our last trip was a bluegill trip, and Dad made it look easy. Boy, you know, Dad who's always bringing rods, and buying all the taco and all that stuff. That day he got to fish, and Roy, you were on fire, huh? You couldn't do no wrong.
Is it something that you guys did before and that you do now versus, you know, when you learn from them, you guys do it together as an experience? Did you all learn how to fish? Did you fish prior to that, or were you the first time they've ever fished?
They had fished a little bit. What was that North Park there in Riverside? Fairmont Park. Anybody familiar with Fairmont Park? That's their backyard. I said, that's the lake you fish. You learn it. You know it. Make circles around it. You know? And now they're catching carp off it, catfish off it, bass off it. So, and every time they show me the pictures of the bass, I show them to the guys here. Fairmont Park. And I haven't seen one that big in a long time. So they're on their way.
That's good.
They've got great structure. They've got a good family upbringing there. And it just depends on how much they're going to fall in love with it even more from now on.
Yeah, I just think that's a big part of it versus some of the kind of more kid-based clinics when you invite the whole family. So that's good to hear because that's what we teach as well. That way they come to Bass Pro, you get a couple of setups, you go back, you try it out, you know, versus you get something, we get this at our kid days where they'll bring the rod, it's still got the plastic box connected, and they got it like 2 Christmases ago, but nobody knew how to use it. And now that they've kind of learned how to use it and teaching them that they continue to do it versus just like at our derby, right?
Right, correct. But yeah, a lot of fun. I love teaching, and I love coaching, and I just always wanted, someone said they wanted to be a teacher like you, I did. Myself, my parents were teachers. My dad was a PE teacher, my mom was a second grade school teacher. You know, my mom became a principal, and it's all about love and teaching and respect. And that's what I feel I do on the boat, and anybody who comes aboard, I treat them like my own. Bubba, you got a question, I can see it.
I do. So Diamond Valley, that's your stomping ground.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we're talking about your most memorable one. What is that? What is it?
Wow.
Guiding yourself.
Yeah, guiding. I can make everybody cry right now with a story, you know. I'll go for it.
Do it.
Go for it.
Yeah, tears boost ratings. Tears boost
I've been
ratings.
a long time. I'm 50 years old. One of my best friends called me. He's been hiring me 4 times a year. All right, he's a doctor. He's a surgeon on heart. Guy was in phenomenal shape. Calls me up out of the blue in 2012. He tells me, Mark, I'm dying.
Wow.
I go, oh my gosh. You know, no. He goes, yes, Mark, I got pancreatic cancer. They're giving me 2 months. We want to go fishing. I'm on vacation when I get the call. I tell my wife, we got to go back home. Vacation's over. I get to the lake. I meet him there. This guy was built like a statue of David. All right. I mean, he was big old calves, 6'8" pack right here. And all of a sudden he looked frail and thin. And we brought his kids out. We had a little striper morning out there. We had a lot of fun. He wrote me a beautiful letter after. Okay. And he passed away that night at 2 o'clock in the morning. His wife texted me, Mark, Steve passed away at 2 in the morning. And
That's a memory for not just you, but their family to know that you did something you loved before.
I went to the funeral, and you know, everything is a celebration of life.
Right.
And I must have been in 100 pictures with all his families and fishing. I'm like a baby. And I went out, actually when the day he passed, I went out fishing that day. Because I always do when someone that I love very much has passed on me. And after being a guide for 20 years, I've had some men that have gone. Especially like my dad, but Steve here. And I went out fishing that day and I had the greatest day of my life. And I think I've shared it with a lot of guys here. I caught 9 stripers at Diamond Valley Lake for 171 pounds. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Yeah. Greatest day of my life fishing. Took me till I was 52 to do it. It was just what a day. Yeah, it was incredible. It was well, that day we went out, we were catching all the stripers that were born in the top. Little ones and twos. He's staring in the captain's chair, looking at my fish line. He keeps going, Mark, look at these arcs. And there was one arc after the other, and they looked like giant yellowtail arcs when I was a kid.
Right.
And I used to go to the wheelhouse and look at the captain. He would tell me, these are arcs, these are the big ones. And that's what it looked like. I'd never seen anything like that at Diamond Valley. So I went back out there the next day with my 8-foot rod, 20-pound test, and 3,500 crocodiles. And I just started chucking and grinding. 10 casts later, I had 9 fish. And I couldn't even breathe. I couldn't think. I was numb. I went back to the dock. We called the Western Outdoors newspaper that we all know and love. And they came down, took some pictures. A local paper came and took some pictures. I was numb through my whole body.
That's incredible.
One of the greatest days ever. Just that was a fishing day for me. But the family was awesome. I mean, for the last 13 years, they came out 4 times a year, and he'd always say, Mark, I don't care what you're catching, just as long as we catch. You know, like most kids, they just want to catch. They don't really understand fishing yet, but they do understand catching.
That's incredible for a couple of reasons. Meaning the guys that fish forever, that we're still catching memories that late. I go to the Channel Islands, that's where we're from. I still take pictures of the islands, and like I'm a kid again. There's a kid in all of us, so you can still be catching memories, or your best days are still ahead of you for fishing, but also some therapy, right? Being on the water, you needed to clear your mind, and you know, so it does have a therapeutic nature thing that you get to share with people as well.
That is 4 times that's happened. He would be one, and then my father, when he passed, I was on the water. I caught 2 of the biggest trout out of that lake, and my dad loved trout fishing. I even said a prayer to him that morning. Come on, Dad, help me out. I can't think straight. You passed away this morning, and I got a family with me, and I'm trying to fish. I'm trying to guide. And we ended up catching an 8-pounder and a 7-pounder back-to-back, and I lost it. I lost it.
I'm going to lose it up here because before I came here, my mom passed in November or October, so I went to my beach and I was normally I would call, Mom, guess where your baby's at today, and I can share it. So today I just went down and prayed before I came out here for safe travels and to share a moment with her, even though she's not here. She'd be proud of her baby, you know?
And I always feel they're looking down on us, man. I mean, I say a prayer every morning. I talk to my dad every morning. Okay, Dad, we're going fishing. Come on.
Right.
You know, help me have a great day. Help me have a safe day. You know, make sure no one gets hooked. Make sure no one falls over. Anything like that.
Did your dad help you get started? And like, who was the one that got you started on the water? Just on your bicycle back in the day, or?
Yeah, my grandpa, my dad, my 11 uncles. We were big lake guys. And yeah. I lived in South San Diego. It was it was my backyard. It was my babysitter, those 3 lakes. I mean, my parents used to drop me out there in the summertime as I got older. But we would just take the whole roll, and we were throwing cut bait, chunks of mackerel to catch the catfish at night. And my job when I was a little boy, Mark, go get the ice chest. Mark, go get the chairs. Mark, go get the food. Mark, go get this. Mark, go get that. Mark, I did it with passion. And every time one of my uncles caught a fish, in Spanish, I bet me, come here. And they would hand me the rod and I would bring it in. That was my reward, bringing in fish. Because I wasn't very good at catching at 8, 9 years old. You're always
Still learning.
yeah, still learning, but they saw my love for it. My Uncle Paul, my Uncle Mike, my Uncle May, my Uncle Eddie, on and on. They were all great fishermen, but they were bait stickers. Yeah. They just loved using bait, sitting back. They were hardworking men.
Yeah. But it was probably therapy for them to get away and fellowship with you guys. The reason I highlight this with people listening, people walking by, is what's crazy, those crazy fishermen that are always out in the water, because it is therapy. You do remember those memories, them involving you, because with our guppy program, we do try to give the kids assignment, give them a responsibility, and then watch them engage versus just sit there and wait for the rod, don't move and take a bite until they bite. You gotta let them, if you don't give them engage that way by giving you some responsibility, letting them cut the bait, letting them get that, you'll see them want to do more than just sit there and wait for the bobber to sink. You have to, by them doing that, they kept you doing something.
Well, like I tell all the parents, when you take your kids to the local lake, all they're going to want to do is cast. And the worst thing you can tell them is sit there, be quiet, and don't move. And they already hear that at school Monday through Friday, 5 days a week.
Right.
Come Saturday and Sunday, they want to let off some steam a little bit, like everybody else in the world.
Right.
So I tell parents, let them cast to their heart's content. If you feel they're crossing some lines, move down the line. So you don't get some people mad. Some people get mad, you cross the line. There's still a couple of those guys out there. Let your kids cast to their heart's content. That's how they're going to get good. They're not going to get good sitting there.
Right.
Quiet. Don't move. What kind of bird is that, Grandpa? Quiet.
Right.
That was my grandpa. A little rough on the edges, but what were you going to do?
We tell the kids, sorry, Bubby, you can ask yours next. When the kids hook something like let's say it's slow, right? And they hook into a tree or the pier or something. Oh, it got to be a shark. I mean, fishing stories aren't lies; they're exaggerated truths, right? It was always this big. So when they do get stuck on something, I just play along with it. Oh man, you must have lost the pit. That keeps them wanting to do at least some kind of action, I play along.
We have a little trick sometimes. The big one. I don't know, maybe Pete and Gilbert have done this, but we'll get a 1 liter bottle of Pepsi or whatever Mountain Dew and fill it full of water, put the weights in it, and tap it down. Put the grill in 3 take it down. All right, takes it down 50, 60, 70 feet. And you tell us, oh, you're right. Also, they start pushing up, and the bottom goes to the left, it goes to the right, it goes to the left.
Really?
It acts like a fish.
Try that. I gotta steal that one.
And then they pull it up, and you look at them. How did you catch that, man?
That's a real simulator.
That's just something we have a little fun with, especially with the older guys. You know,
Try that.
I love teasing these men. I think nothing but, you know, I'm going to be 60 here really, really soon, and you know, I used to take guys in my 30s, and they were in their 50s and 60s. And now I take them in their 90s. Wow. My oldest, 92, Mel Tucker. Unfortunately, he's wheelchair bound, no mobility from the waist down, but he can still. You know, he'd be great in a boxing competition for a 92-year-old man. He's still got all the movement from above, just unfortunately something from the waist down. I used to call him Tuco. We pull the chair out, we lock it down, and then he sat, you know, for a few hours out there. But a caretaker always comes, and we try to get him a nice one. And his goal with me was to be I caught him a 10-pound striper, I caught him a 5-pound trout, and I came up short on the 5-pound bass he won. It was 4 pounds, 14 ounces. Wow. So I put it back in the water, took the batteries out of the scale, and acted like they were out, and it was in. And then I pulled on the tail just enough to get it to 5.1. Wow. And he goes, yeah, he was so excited. So there is some exaggeration, like I said, and only because Mel's 92 years old. I probably just
Get your memories at 92 years old.
absolutely.
I think it's the kid in all of us, you know, you never want to lose that. So we got to do some raffles right now to get it ready for that. I know I'm going to book a trip with you, man. I got to come fishing with you guys.
Just wait for a little bit. I just like I'm telling all my clients right now, the only thing I really got going on is trout. And as for the bass, it's a long day for 2 or 3 fish. So I like for the numbers to get up there. Spring come. Yes, I'm April. I'm getting booked right now for April, May, June, July. We'll see what 20 fish make. 20 fish out there.
Coming up.
You know, 1 to 3 pounds, occasional 5 and 7 coming through. But you know, as a guide, my favorite thing is to have numbers. All about the numbers. Okay, we ready, Kathy?